then we'll figure out the intro as we go for everyone, because pull the curtain back for everyone. This is number one of Wrestling with Comedy. No, DOS may come if we like the format and we stick with it. I am Kd Hinken, comedic babyface, all around creative juggernaut of Kd Comedy Inc. And I am joined by, you can introduce yourself this time.
Hello, I'm Callum Jarvis-Jones. I have done that comedy as well. I've just noticed my little... Oh, I can really see my microphone light. Let's move that back.
Yeah. You got a red one. I got a blue one on mine.
I always find it's better to have a red one than a blue one.
Yeah. Normally because I've had string around it for too long. My penis.
Yeah, well done. Well done. You don't go for this fixie wank. You would just tie it straight around the cock. That's what you do.
Yeah. Go straight. You cut out the middleman, basically.
Maybe.
Or if that's just me trying to, as I do on the Kd Hinken Comedy podcast, available every Friday, I always try to put logic to something that has no logic.
I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the world, like wrestling.
Like we are here to talk about today. Yeah, I was thinking about what to do the opening one as, because you said I could have a think for it. So, do you like my pick then? AEW, just as a whole, it's about, I thought it was 2 years on, but it's actually about a year and a half now, it seems.
Well, it started in the back end of 2019. What was it? It was like October 2019?
Yeah, the actual 2-hour Dynamite show.
It's sort of, well, there was, it kind of started off with the Double or Nothing, didn't it? That was the first thing that was AEW.
Officially AEW, yeah.
Then there was like a few months where it was just like another pay-per-view after that, and then it started Dynamite, I think.
I think Double or Nothing was the only pay-per-view it had during that time. During the time from when, because before that there was All In, wasn't there? But then again, was it All Out as well? I don't know you saying this.
All Out was like the third. Well, depends how you treat it historically, really. Because All In wasn't All Elite Wrestling. That was obviously just like
that was just like the indie kind
super
of thing,
indie. Yeah, just a mega indie show with ROH's help. That they must really be kicking themselves about now. Just like,
they caused their own downfall.
Yeah. I wish we didn't help with that. I remember going to an ROH show in Doncaster when they still had the NJPW link. So Cody was there, the Bucks were there. Hangman Page was there, and then you also had Tanahashi, and who else was there? There's someone else from Japan that I can't remember. But
I don't know a lot of the Japanese names. A lot of the Japanese stars, sorry.
Well, Tanahashi is he was one that kind of kept New Japan going when he was before Okada, and being able to see him and Hangman Page in a match was pretty cool. Yeah. But
what was that actually at?
It was an ROH show. In Doncaster.
Live wrestling shows, eh?
Yeah,
they were a thing.
Just imagine, what were they like? What
are
people?
No, a big fan of people, gotta say. I will slightly miss the social distancing malarkey.
Yeah, I feel like there's been a lot of benefits. I've not had to see a lot of arseholes. Unfortunately, I'm also missing out on seeing a lot of arseholes. So
yeah. It's been a very weird time for AEW to have to start as well because it was probably less than a year, wasn't it? Then surely if they started in October, and think that was October 2019, and it was 6 months. And then the pandemic hit. They were around 6 months.
Yeah, I think
a year of it.
Yeah, they didn't make it to a year with having fans. I think they've probably been doing it. They've got fans now, which sort of.
Some, they've got a huge gap, to be fair.
Yeah, they've
between
got
where
those,
they have the fans at the back.
1,000 or whatever it is, and then obviously all the annoying wrestlers at the front hamming it up.
Yeah, with like all the good guys on one side and the bad guys on the other side, but they seem to forget which side they're all on and stuff. But there's a lot we could go through and take the mick out of AEW for. There is a lot, but I gave it like benefit of the doubt for a long time because there is as well a lot of good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you said it at the beginning about All In being like just a super indie show. Like, I was never into the indie stuff, but I'd heard more and more like Omega and Bucks, and then when Cody went, is when I really started. I'd seen a lot more of it as well, and then I was always thinking about watching this stuff. I never knew where to start, and then All In came about, and I was like, okay, well, here we go. Then it's a good place to start. All In was completely different than like Thingy though, and then Double or Nothing was like May the 5th. I just had a look while we was talking a second ago.
May the 5th, 2019.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, really? That long ago?
That was the first one anyway. Yeah.
Wow.
Because that was before it was made. Yeah, because they had All In. Don't know when All In was, to be honest. And then they announced it in January, AEW starting, and then Double or Nothing was in May, and then October it started from. It was Cody and Guevara, wasn't it, the first match?
Yeah, Cody and Sammy Guevara, the very first match, which is a good one to start on. I mean,
yeah.
In terms of the positives, I think they do have a lot of good talent, and they're just the fact that there is now a second show that has a big TV. Well, I was going to say a big TV audience. They don't have a big TV audience. It's very exceptionally rare it gets over 1 million. But
yeah, no wrestling has a good TV audience nowadays compared to like the Attitude Era.
No, but they have the ability to get, in modern terms, quite a lot of eyes on a lot of people, and it gives people a good payday, which is obviously what wrestling ultimately is all about. Even Vince McMahon knows that. Like, he could have gone further into, he could have tried to buy TNA, but he probably didn't want to because it's fairly worthless, or it was.
Yeah. What? So, what second show were you on about? Because they've only got the one TV show.
But they've then also got The Dark on YouTube.
Oh, you're on about that? Okay.
And then obviously the new Dark
Elevation. Yeah. That's also on YouTube as well, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is another good thing, really. I think they've really capitalized on being able to utilize that because they don't have a network like WWE do. So they're using what's at their disposal, which is YouTube, and NWA kind of, they did do that first. That's when they put their weekly show on. I never watched it.
No.
I never had the inclination to. There's so much wrestling content. I just couldn't be bothered.
I would have watched it for Cornette, but I still didn't bother. So.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, being able to do that, AEW Dark and Dark Elevation are also potentially negative as well. But
yeah, I mean, I do look at them in a bit more of a negative light, to be honest. Like, I mean, with the platform, you said they do have a platform. They got Bleacher Report Live, is what they're supposed to use, or Fight Live, I think, is the one here as well. But they're just crap. Like, apparently, there's streaming problems all the time with them, which is why a lot of matches end up getting put on YouTube.
Yeah, that's kind of a similar problem that ROH always used to run into when they were on, like, I think it was HDNet, because they were the first company, I think, that really did the pay-per-views. Them and TNA anyway, because TNA used to be like a weekly internet show.
Yeah, at one point, wasn't it like a weekly pay-per-view show at one point?
Yeah.
It was weird.
And like it does seem rather like a lot of issues back from 2002 to 4 still haven't been ironed out in 2021 when it comes to stuff like that.
Just general production issues, you mean?
Yeah, which is concerning.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the points I specifically wanted to talk about because I've said before, like, I'm a media snob and stuff. I always have been. I went did a lot of it in school, and then I went to college, did media, worked in a media company and stuff.
And look at you now.
Oh, yeah. we're all fucking broke now. To be fair though, saying that, like, I know so many people that went to college and uni to do things that as soon as they left and put themselves in loads of debt, you know, never did anything in that subject again.
Yeah, I've got a history degree. I've done fuck all with it.
I'd love a history degree though. I love history.
I did.
Yeah,
depends which bit of history you do. Ultimately,
yeah. I've never that into the world wars and stuff, which is what it was when I was in secondary school. So I never got into it as a kid.
Anyway, wrestling.
Yeah, history of wrestling. But
that would actually be a really interesting topic to cover. I think you could do a really good deep dive in some of wrestling history.
Definitely, yeah. Because I hear Cornette talking about like people from the 20s and 30s. So yeah,
it could be a lot of deep dives.
But with the production though, like in this, I mean, I've said this a few times. Like, I try not to bitch about it too much, especially at the beginning, because I know, like, I've watched WWE all my life. That's always been the main one I'm into, and their production is just hands down kills everyone else's. It killed WCW back when when the Monday Night War was going on. It's just WCW they had a good production still because they were like a TV network and all that. So they still had good production. They just probably didn't have a good team, or they didn't care about it probably that much. But WWE,
what they always say is like WWE is a wrestling company creating TV content, whereas WCW was basically a TV network creating wrestling content. So they didn't know how, like, they had the general gist of how to shoot things, but then when it came to like the backstage stuff or like the hype packages, you could always really tell the stark difference between WWE and WCW. But I would give AEW credit. They can do good hype packages. They're just very samey. Like, it seems like it's always the exact same thing.
Same format all the time. Yeah. Copy and paste into a template.
Here is 5 talking heads talking about why this is important.
UFC, very UFC style from what I've seen. I don't watch a lot of UFC, but from what I've seen with the hype package, it's very much like that. Like, there's no real energy or story into it, and they're weird sometimes. Though some of the hype, like the videos themselves, the hype packages are okay. Though I don't have a huge issue with them. They're not anywhere near as good as WWE's, but you wouldn't expect that.
Yeah.
It's weird. I remember when at Revolution, it was the one for Hangman Page and Big Money Matt. They were doing that Big Money match.
Yeah,
and I put the whole way through it was a joke in that, and then they put the high package on. Like, it was some really serious thing. They were making it to be really serious, legit, like taking it seriously in the high package, and that was a bit weird. That threw me off. I don't even know if that was intentional or it just came across like that. It was just strange, though.
Yeah, like that's one of the like negatives with it is they obviously came out stating that it was going to be like a big, like it's going to be focusing on making wrestling more sports based and less entertainment based.
Yeah.
And I mean, frankly, as soon as they hired Marco Stunt and Orange Cassidy, that was them putting their stamp on it, saying, "Oh, actually, that was a lie."
Not.
Yeah,
more sports based, but also more comedy based as well.
Yeah, get that gaga.
Like, fucking it is just essentially another version of WWE. It's not an indie show or a alternative. It's not an alternative to WWE. It's an alternative to WWE.
Yeah, I think it is doing what it said it wasn't going to do, and it started pretty much at the beginning when Cody, remember that entrance where he came out and he had like that throne that he destroyed with a sledgehammer, and it's like you just immediately taking cheap shots. Like, if you were going to be a WWE alternative, you wouldn't mention them. Like Vince wouldn't used to do. Vince went through a period just like, I'm just going to ignore the competition because why should I be worried about them? They're not my concern.
Yeah, they're not.
I'm an individual product. I like when Ted Turner said, "Oh, Vince, I'm in the wrestling business." Well, I'm in the entertainment business, pal. And you set, and it's fair enough doing it on like the being the elite stuff and being like, oh, don't slap your leg when you're laughing. Oh, that's against the rules. But when you're doing it on TV,
they did that on TV the other day, didn't they?
Yeah, the no leg slapping T-shirt. And you're like, they are only appealing to their demographic, to their audience, and like they'll do things to try and get other people in, like having Shaq, and then
Shaq, which was strange putting him on the TV one as well rather than pay-per-view. It's just strange when you had a pay-per-view like 4 days later or 5 days later.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing what they thought is he's not going to get us any more pay-per-view buys, but he might get more eyes on things. But then when the figures came out, like a lot of people, I think they boosted themselves up a couple 100,000. They got to like 900,000 viewers.
I thought they would, yeah.
For the Shaq episode, and then the episode the week after, they were right back where they were. So
people who watch Revolution were like, "What the fuck was this?" Because, like we said, with the production, like we was on about, like you can talk about as much as you want, but then like the production, like for example, with the exploding ring at the end of that barbed wire death match. That is just proof. Like, that would have never happened in WWE. If they were going to do it, they would have made the explosion epic. They probably would have pre-recorded it too.
More than likely, yeah, it would have been some kind of cinematic thing, or they just wouldn't have done it because that's indie-rific bullshit.
Well, I mean, I don't give WWE that much credit. They do plenty of stuff that's indie-rific bullshit. They do plenty of stuff as well where they tease something with no idea what the eventual outcome is going to be. They're just teasing it because. Right, it's cool.
Well, yeah, but that's just, I think that's partly down to one man constantly changing his mind.
Yeah.
And not having people to go, no, we're going to stick with it. Shut the fuck up. And just going, oh, yes, boss. Yes, boss.
Yeah. Forget one last thing about the production though. The reason I mentioned that barbed wire thing then, the explosion, was because I found it hilarious. The next night on Dynamite, or the next show, sorry, for Dynamite, they had. They managed to explain it away. Pretty cool, to be fair. Kingston and Moxley, I thought that was good. Don and Omega killed it again a bit, but I was willing to overlook that by that point. But just the genuineness that they had all that going on. And then later on in the night, they had Ethan Page versus, I forget the guy's name, but one of the ones from the Nightmare family, the young guy.
Yeah.
And all you could hear through the whole match was, it was like there was a basketball match going on and they just overlaid the sound. Or you could hear the squeaking, the sound every time they did a hoop. You could hear the do-do-do-do.
Defense.
Yeah. And I was like, this is what you're putting on. This is a mistake you've made. Like 3 days after doing that huge production mistake, you've explained it all the way to the beginning and then you can't even get through one show without a big mistake again. Like, that's crazy, the fact that they would let that happen. And it took the whole match to sort it out. And I swear there was a break in that match too.
Especially with the money behind them.
Exactly.
You would hope there would be a lot less incidents like that because, I mean, yeah, fair enough, WWE will cut to like the wrong camera or something here and there.
Yeah.
But I can't recall anything on that level. Like,
no.
I do remember quite a few years ago now, I think it was when the network was fairly new and they released online on like Daily Motion, they had an episode of SmackDown where you like it stayed with it through the break, like they've got like the master or whatever, and obviously like when the adverts were on, you were still just hearing the sort of the studio, and Michael Cole was just like, so do you really want me to keep mentioning the network in $9.99? I feel like I'm saying it a lot.
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
Oh yeah, okay, boss. And it was really interesting seeing that, but you'd never seen anything like that since or before.
Yeah, they have little things.
It was obviously just that one thing And obviously that didn't go out on air. That was just like, we have found this thing, we will put it on the internet.
And it was for,
there.
even if it did, it was for a very small amount,
Yeah.
very short as well. I would have realized quickly. And that, but AEW, just whole match for a whole break. It just keeps going. He comes back, and the same issue's still there.
And they used to
a year and a half in as well. It's kind of hard to just explain it away. And like you said, they've got the money behind it. They're billionaires too. It's a bit long now. It's a year and a half of Dynamite. It's a bit much now.
What I will
still watch
give
it,
them.
but...
So yeah, it's wrestling. What is wrestling fandom? But being like, I absolutely hate everything about this. I'm going to watch it every week.
You hate watch the stuff you hate and love the stuff you love, though.
Yeah, but like what we'll give them credit for is I remember first watching like the first pay-per-views and the first Dynamites, and everything would quite obviously be sort of left too short. Literally every week, it was just like, there's not a lot of time left in this, and then everyone's just like scrambling to say, oh my god, well, what's gonna happen next week? We're gonna go for goodbye, everybody.
Yeah,
and it would always end like that. Like the, I think it was All Out where it was was it a tag match between the Bucks and Omega and Ibushi or something, or it might have been 4 where. That was the main event.
I thought of another one. There was Fight for the Fallen in that time as well, in between.
Yeah. That Fight for the Fallen, you could tell that the ending there was rushed.
And he didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
And remember, because it was all about gun crime and that, and he was like, Omega did his little thing. He was like, and good night.
Good night.
Boing.
Boing.
What the fuck was that, man? That made it worse, the fact that he didn't just do your normal stuff. Why do that to begin with as well? Like,
I mean, so yeah, I will give them credit. They've got better on that. They've still got a massive over-reliance on, in the wrestling parlance, a schmoz, just like a big group of people doing like a beatdown or a big gang fight.
Yeah.
There's still far too much of that because there is also far too many factions in AEW. It just is.
I don't think that's the issue, though. I mean, I think a lot of their issues will be sorted out, like you were saying before about the smozzies and all that. And a lot of the same stuff happening is if they all spoke to each other and they all decided, like they all had a big meeting, like at the beginning of it, going through what each of them are doing, so they could run it like an actual show, like not have the same stuff repeated, because everyone wants to do everything all the time and have every match be an epic match.
Well, that's it. I think Jericho said it in his podcast that they were basically all doing it individually. So the Bucks would do the tag matches, Cody would do the men's division, and Omega would do the women's division. And you'd have the same thing happening in 2 matches that followed on from each other because they weren't talking to each other. Yeah, they were just. And I still don't think that really happens. There's still some stuff
I don't think so.
Crosses over. And I think somebody needs to, whether it maybe it is a Jericho, as much as I don't like, he's really revealed himself as somebody who I don't like recently. Like, I had such high hopes for you, Chris, but oh well.
Disrespect for him. All these people that, like you're saying, WWE is like, just let them do what they want. They're so much better than they go to AEW and they're let to do what they want. And then you got Jericho, you got a Miro, there's probably more examples. Moxley was all right. I'm fine with Moxley.
Yeah, he was someone who actually knew what he wanted to do and knew what would resonate with the audience.
He knew his character, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't, I'm going to be funny now. I'm going to sing now. I want to play video games. It was, I'm going to be a badass and nobody's going to beat me. And if they do, I'm going to still look like a fucking badass.
Yeah.
And granted, that is just Stone Cold Steve Austin, but...
He is the new version of Stone Cold Steve Austin. But I'm okay with that, once again, though.
Yeah.
And he can be funny when he needs to be, like even him with Kingston, like on that promo. He was like, no, I think they were actually trying to blow me up. No, he wouldn't have the balls for that. Them two together just worked really well for me.
I think they can be a little bit wordy. I think it's kind of like what they say about Vince Russo and Vince McMahon. Like Vince McMahon was basically like the editor of Vince Russo's ideas, And if you leave it unchecked, that's what WCW in the latter days was.
And TNA at one point.
Yeah, then they need editing, not necessarily scripting, but what they need is, right, you've got 30 seconds to get across what you need to get across. Then you've got another 30 seconds to sell us on the match or whatever. We don't need to hear you fucking jacking each other off with your little ha-ha. Just go in. These are your 3 bullet points. We need you to out the match, do that. And you got this amount of time. That is it. If you can't make it work, that's on you.
It's like they need a brief, basically. Like, this is saying, this is what you need to do. This is the time and all this brief outline. You get there how you want, but
and there's no,
and then it would work.
Negative in having a script if a person isn't a natural creative talker.
Yeah,
like
of course.
Jungle Boy doesn't strike me as somebody who's particularly like, here's a microphone, go.
Yeah, he grew up watching his dad like learn scripts anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So
even if you said, look, here's word for word, like a generic kind of script, embellish it, improv it if you want to. If not, that will get across what we need to do. I'm sure you can remember it. I don't know, 5-sentence thing or something. But just letting everybody have free reign is really dangerous because not everybody is good enough to have free reign.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot. I mean, this is the thing, at least with AEW, like, all the other companies before, which is something that AEW get moaned at for as well, which is kind of contradictory here. They get moaned at, they're just bringing in old WWE stars and that. But at the same time, they've really built a lot of new stars that you never saw before. But at the same time, a lot of them are very green, like very newbie.
Oh, yeah. But then, like, people can say, like, oh, they're only bringing WWE stars, but WWE has basically been the only game in town, and that's where everybody went. That's like saying, oh, they're just bringing in ex-CZW wrestlers. Yeah, because that's where a lot of people started, and then they went to WWE.
Or making films like, oh, you're just bringing in ex-Marvel actors. It's like, everyone's been in Marvel now, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Disney in general,
Some people have been in more than one Marvel film, and it doesn't get brought up enough. Chris Evans, looking at you, Mr. Captain America, and Johnny Blaze.
Connected, though.
Doesn't matter if they were
connected. Going to be a new Fantastic Four coming out soon, I reckon. I hope so.
Let it die. 3 attempts at one thing.
But as soon as but do you say that? But Disney already made it work with Spider-Man.
I like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
I wasn't
the Amazing Spider-Man were good.
I like the Amazing Spider-Man more than a Sam Raimi one.
I don't think Tobey Maguire was a good cast.
No, I hated him. I can't get past that. Once I hate the main character, it's like, well, I hate it. Good wrestling scene in it, though.
100% Macho Man would be in AEW in some capacity if he was alive.
Oh, yeah.
He would absolutely... And just him and crotchety Bret Hart. I want them to bring back crotchety Bret Hart. It's like, hey everyone. Oh, it sure is nice to be here. WWE sucks. And then 2 weeks later, he'll be on Raw. He'll be like, hey guys, 4 out of 10.
He's such a bitch, Bret Hart is.
Bret Hart, have you ever read his autobiography?
No, I don't need any negativity in my life. But just for him bitching for how many pages. Yeah.
Like, it is the bleakest fucking book. And it's like 400. It's about the same size as Have a Nice Day, if you read that.
Yeah, I have done, yeah.
Yeah. It's about the same length. And it's just like where Mick Foley is just like, and then a great thing happened. And I was joking with the doctor about my shattered spine. But I was just like, and then they died, and I had a fucking horrible time. And then Vince double-crossed me, and I hated WCW. Goldberg ain't worth a shit. And you're just like, oh, God, this is... And literally the end, it was like, oh, so now I'm recovering from my stroke. And I'm like, oh, fucking wow.
Hey, that sounds like a barrel laugh, that book does.
Yeah, at least like if it had come out when he was put into that, mind you, when he was put in the Hall of Fame, I wasn't watching wrestling then, but I've got the WrestleMania on DVD where he got put in the Hall of Fame, and like he was put in the Hall of Fame. I think it was 24. I think it was 24 or 26.
Oh, wow. Okay,
I think, and then like so he did the Hall of Fame. And then, like the next night at WrestleMania, where they get them all out, you're just like
parade around on the stage.
Yeah, Bret Hart declined the offer to come out in front of everybody, and everyone just boos. You know, yeah, just Bret, you're a fucking. He's a dick. He's just a bit.
Yeah, if you just deny that, then yeah, for no reason. Well, I don't want to be paraded around in front of them. It's like, well, for them, though. I mean, I understand why you might not want to do it, why screw the company, but the crowd's going to love it.
Tens of thousands of people there who loved you, Bret. Like, literally, just want to say it's fucking lovely to see you again, mate. It's really good. I really enjoy seeing you again. It's like, oh no, I'm not doing it. I'm not bowing to Vince on this one. Fuck off. Fuck off, Bret. Just fuck off. You'll never see this, but fuck you. And I know for a fact I can take you because you're probably weak as balls.
Can't do anything now, yeah, man. You couldn't even take a single bump against Vince McMahon.
I know.
Didn't he get like eased into doing the sharpshooter? I swear someone helped him get into the sharpshooter. I remember a US title match with him and Vince.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and like when he came back and did the Nexus stuff, it was like a testament to Heath Slater that they were like, Heath, you're with Bret. You are the one who's going to be able to help him. Nobody else is like viable in this scenario.
Heath was one person I'm surprised didn't pop up in AEW, to be fair.
I think it's probably better that he didn't, just because that definitely wouldn't have helped their trope of like it's just a bunch of failed WWE guys.
Yeah, because Impact has now got that though as well again. I think that was even worse for him.
Maybe, but Impact was already in like the doldrums as it was, so it's sort of no harm, no foul with that. That can be sort of a stepping stone to AEW now, really, or ROH can.
Well, they're all one thing, essentially. Is ROH going to be involved in that? Because is ROH doing shows at the moment at all?
ROH is doing weekly shows, and I don't think you'll see them getting too involved right now. I still think there's probably a little bit of bad blood there because of how things went down with the All In leading to All Elite. But
about all the help they gave him, and then that essentially helped him build a new company that will be their competitor.
Yeah. But I think if it shows that like TNA's pay-per-views have gotten the most buys that they've had since they've left Spike, that is not a particularly difficult thing, but it does show that there is at least some of that like core audience is watching Impact again.
Yeah.
And if that continues, and say if New Japan do come on board and they do send some talent over, which is still what's kind of, you've had Kenta, you've had
you've had little bits, to be fair. There would probably be a lot more if it was easier to travel in that.
Yeah, and I think especially because they got rid of, there was a guy who they all hated working with who was American at New Japan, and he went, and I think that has kind of helped forge this little tentative thing.
Well, he came to AEW, you mean, or?
No. So there's I can't remember his name, but there's a guy who worked for New Japan who was like the American sort of executive, and the elite guys just didn't like him.
I got you. Okay.
They didn't get along, and he left New Japan. And so that's what's kind of led to this being this just very tentative kind of feeling out process. But I think there's potentially it could be very good, but I think they'd also have to realize that AEW is effectively still going to be the daddy, and I don't know whether that's a good thing for.
I think it's
them.
a good thing. Well, I mean, for AEW, yeah, it's a good thing. But I mean, for anyone else that isn't AEW, just having someone to kind of hold them up a little bit is a good thing, I think, because none of them could ever match up to WWE.
No.
AEW, I mean, there's every chance it could one day. It could. It's got the money behind it. You know, it's got the backing behind it. It's got a long way to go.
Oh, absolutely. It's got to. I mean, like when TNA was on Spike, it was getting double what AEW is getting now, but at the same time, there wasn't as many ways of getting your content. There wasn't WWE Network. There wasn't an on-demand service.
Yeah,
you couldn't find things as easily, and I think it was also probably on at a different time than AEW is, because like AEW over here is on
to mention. Yeah,
AEW. That is something that Impact did really well. Was they pumped a lot of money into the UK side of things? Like we were their second biggest market, and they used to get like a 10,000 seat house when they came here. And whereas AEW is on, are they still on ITV4?
Well, yeah, I only heard this recently. I thought they didn't replay it until it was on ITV on like the Monday after, but apparently I read somewhere recently they do ITV4 on like the Thursday or the Friday, but I've never seen that.
That's what because I don't have live TV, so I've not been sure. But I know that when it started, it was like about 5 days out. So obviously Dynamite on a Wednesday, and then you couldn't watch it until like the Sunday or Monday is when ITV4 would have it on. And then they did it so it was closer to the time. At least that's what I recall being done. And it was on like a stupid time as well. It was on like 11:30 at night, where nobody's going to watch it anywhere. And I think they redid it to being at like 10:09 maybe.
Yeah, it's the Friday. I've just had a quick look now. It's every Friday it's on. So that's not too bad to be fair. I didn't realise that. Friday, the full show, and you can watch it on the hub as well. It's only 2 days.
That's compared to like
what it used to be.
Yeah, because I mean I remember it used to be like I used to watch Monday Nitro on a Friday. That's how it used to be for me.
Same for Raw for me.
Yeah, because that's when they put it on. I think they did do them live on the Monday, but that would obviously be stupid o'clock that a child is not going to stay up for.
I don't think they ever did play them live from what I remember.
No.
To be fair, they might have done, and we would just never have known. But yeah, I mean, we say live anyway. WWE was never live back then anyway.
No.
Hence why they were able to like, let out the freaking who won and stuff ahead of time.
Yeah.
But we're not on about WCW now, they're on about AEW. What best stars do you think have come out of AEW? Not necessarily brand new, not and they can be from WWE, just whoever.
I think if you're going to point to two, it would probably be MJF and Darby Allin. They are the ones who have probably excelled the most. And I'd probably put Darby Allin higher just because all the buzz around MJF, it was kind of assumed that he would do well. Like, it was just like, this guy's a classic heel. He gets it. He's an 80s villain. He doesn't care who you are. He'll spit in your face in real life. Whereas Darby Allin, I compared Darby Allin to like a Jeff Hardy in that he is enigmatic. He's an enigma, but he's weird. Yeah, he's weird. Basically,
yeah,
he's weird, but he's intriguing weird. Like he does things you want to see. He does some dumb shit, like the body bag stuff. The body bag stuff, yeah. But it's just the same as Jeff Hardy. Like when he broke his leg in a motocross on a motocross bike.
Well, to be fair, when it comes to being in the ring, though, I suppose it's better Darby Allin doing stupid shit than like Jeff Hardy, like fucking getting wasted before a match and having like a 2-minute match.
I can
see that was teasing, throwing his t-shirt to the audience.
Yeah, I imagine that Darby Allin's straight edge though. There's something about him that
I can imagine that
he'd be that kind of elitist prick. But I would put him as like the standout in that I'd never heard of him before. Didn't know who this guy was.
Yeah,
I just looked at him. I was like, he's a vanilla midget. To quote Kevin Nash. But then watching him, he does have this, even like when he speaks, he doesn't speak well, again like Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, he's not a good promo.
Yeah, I can't say he's a good promo, but he has this weird charisma about him that does sort of draw you in. And like when you hear him interviewed, again, he's not like engaging. And if you just heard him speak, you'd probably like, oh, he just sounds insufferable. He sounds like a hipster.
I don't think they need him to speak, though. I think his character works better. He's like hence why they've teamed up with Sting, which they need to stop as well, because he's like Sting. There's a lot of things there, but it's like, do you really want to point that out and make a huge point of that fact? I feel like you wouldn't, but they do, apparently.
Yeah, they also don't really see the kind of mesh together, unlike I wear face paint, you wear face paint.
Let's be friends.
Can I be your dad?
We sit in the rafters together as well.
Yeah,
and our own together.
Yeah. Oh look, we're sitting at the very top of the stadium. We're sitting at the very top seats. Aren't we cool and edgy? Aren't we the backseat bus wankers?
Still don't understand why it snows every time you come to the ring, but whatever.
No, me neither.
I think I'd agree that MJF is, well, I'd agree with that part anyway. MJF is my top by far. But at the same time, I like watching him wrestle, but I'm not overly, like entertained when I watch him. He's more of a character for me, and because he's such a good character, it carries over into the match where I care no matter what anyway.
Yeah.
But there's a couple others that you didn't mention, like Hangman Page, for example. I completely forgot about Darby Allin, but Hangman Page, he's just really good. I don't know what it is about him.
For me, I feel like he's been a little bit mishandled.
Yeah, the sad alcoholic stuff.
Yeah, I think you could have done that angle differently, and I don't necessarily like him being associated with Dark Order, and like just keep it as like an arm's length relationship of just being like, I've got no beef against you guys, but I'm not a member. Like
we're friends, we can hang out and get drunk like they do, but he has said that though, that he's not in the Dark Order. But yeah.
Like when DX helped Mankind win the WWF title, you'd kind of have a working relationship. It was like, this is for a greater good purpose.
Yeah,
this isn't you're a member or I'm a member. This is just I need some help in this scenario. But whereas it's been that weird reverse where the Dark Order have been like, we need some help in this scenario. Hangman, will you help us? But I think it is all building to him. Well, it's hopefully all building to him beating Kenny for the belt.
I hope so.
And like what they did right, that first pay-per-view where Jericho won the tournament, that was the right move.
Definitely,
because Hangman wasn't ready.
No.
But it was a really good way to make Hangman.
Yeah, I don't think I'd like him as much as I do now if he won at the beginning. Oh, I know I wouldn't. I still don't like the move, but
it would have been a Roman Reigns style thing.
Yeah,
I think
very
if they'd
much.
have done it, if they'd have pulled the trigger on him. I like the buckshot lariat, but I don't like how contrived it is to set up.
Yeah, exactly. It's all, it's just a bit much. You got to be an outside the ring, and a lot of time it's like, I can't remember exactly, but it's like he never planned to do the move. It's just he was in a chance and then he does it.
Yeah, it's not. It's also like it's not something you can sort of do out of nowhere either. It's not like a stunner or an RKO. You can't just suddenly hit it. You've got to be on the outside of the ring.
And RKO means nothing there.
Yeah.
Everyone does a freaking cutter, man.
Jesus. If it ain't super kicks, it's cutters, kids.
Way too many super. I mean, don't get me wrong though. The whole WWE thing, banning the leg slapping, that's ridiculous. It adds so much to it, and for ages, I didn't even realize they were doing it until like a year and a half ago or something. Maybe a bit more than that.
I didn't realize about leg slaps until I started to watch indie wrestling, like go see it live, and when you're able to actually see it close up and analyze it, you're like, oh my god, they're slapping their leg. That's genius.
That makes so much sense.
That's a brilliant way of doing it. I always wondered how they got that noise. And there's what a light bulb moment.
It's silly that he'd do it now, like during the time when there's even less noise in the arena. So that can make that worse, take even more of the atmosphere away by taking the shot away. And it's still surprising when people do it with trousers on. I'm like, how did you get that shot when you got that sound when you got trousers on? That in its own is impressive.
That's why if you always notice, they're always wearing pretty tight trousers and jeans just to get that real close to skin as you can get sound.
It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense as well, though. Why now? Like, because I imagine it'd still be better on the skin. Why a lot of people still wear pants, I guess. Makes sense.
I would also say, in terms of like the women's side of stuff, I think the women's division has been handled fairly horribly for the most part.
Yeah, without a doubt, it's been horrendous, really.
But
horrendous implies that something's happened. Actually, it's been really boring.
When the bringing in of the NWA women, I think has really helped, and this past match with Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker was really good.
That was.
Unless you don't want to see women. Like when I saw the amount of blood that Britt Baker had pouring out of her, and it reminded me of when Eddie Guerrero bladed himself against JBL, because like that is really bright red blood that isn't stopping. Like it wasn't. You could see it wasn't kind of drying and crusting.
She took a load of aspirin or something.
Yeah, it was just a constant red stream. I was like, this is worrying. You could tell it wasn't like a fucking an Eddie Gusher where it was literally like blah blah blah, but there was a concerning amount.
And it was done like safely. You could tell it was a blade job rather than she just got legitimately smacked, and bled. Same for Rosa, I think, from the looks of it, but she just bled a lot less, Yeah. But I saw a lot of like wrestling people that I watch online, that like viewers, or Jim Cornette as well, being really down on that match.
Yeah, I mean,
surprised me because it was really good. It was the best women's. I don't understand why they're not, why it's not those two fighting over the title. They're the best.
I think the Britt Baker, I give massive credit for. She's come on leaps and bounds being a heel, being a babyface, which is something that Jim Cornette said that she should have stayed babyface. I think that would have been the kiss of death. She wouldn't have got anywhere.
She was a good babyface. She's just it wasn't right for her at the time in that scenario, and she went with what worked from what I got from it, and she went heel.
Yeah, exactly. Like her moves, especially the finishing move, makes a lot more sense as a heel move.
Yeah. It's like comedy, isn't it? You got to read the room and all that. In regards.
Exactly. And, she wasn't getting over with people as a babyface. She could do the work. But again, she's only like 3 years in the business. It's really not very long.
Really? That all?
Yeah, she's really not been doing it for a very long time, despite the fact that she's with Adam Cole.
Baby.
And I would say that she's probably been the standout in the women's division. Shida as well, to an extent.
To an extent. Shida. Yeah, she's beautiful.
She has the problem that she still can't really properly communicate with fans, and it's not like Asuka doesn't necessarily need to communicate, but she found her own way of communicating.
Exactly.
She was like a lethal badass or an insane Japanese woman.
It kind of works as one of the two.
Yeah,
they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah. Whereas like Shida is pretty bland. Yeah, she's good in the ring, but she doesn't make me think. Like I look at Asuka as almost like a female version of Tajiri. She really reminds me a lot of him, and because she's got like this really frenetic energy, like stiff kicks, and believable shit,
and even the miss as well. No, we're not.
Exactly, and not. The less she speaks English, probably the better, because her just speaking in Japanese, it's not that you can understand her, but you sort of understand her, if that makes sense. Like when she's doing commentary and she's just like, BC, 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 you know, this is brilliant.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Yeah. Whereas like when Shida's doing an interview, she's like, Nara, I will beat you. And
okay. No, I agree completely. You mentioned Omega earlier. Him, I think, like we talked about who the best stars, who the biggest letdowns and that. Like, I heard so much about Omega, like before when I was saying, like when I heard indie stuff, I heard a lot about him being the best wrestler, best bait machine, doing all this stuff. These great matches against Tanahashi, was it, or
his series against Okada was the big one.
That's it, yeah. And I haven't seen it still. We're like a year and a half in. He's a champion now, and I haven't seen it. I don't get it.
I think he's had good moments. I think he's also been kind of let down, especially when he was face. And this is again something that's again is kind of endemic to AEW, is having long matches where you don't need long matches. This is something else they've worked on, because like Cody's had a squash match recently.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega
very recently though. That's like that one. Like literally last week was the first one for ages I can remember. Other than you better say Omega and Sonny Kiss.
Exactly. Like when they did that, I was like, much. When they did that, I was like, that is the best possible way that this could have been done, because Sonny Kiss was a last minute replacement for
Janela.
Janela. And to be honest, that should have gone the exact same way, because like when Janela was going 15, 20 minutes with Cody, I was like, bullshit. Absolute bullshit. This shouldn't be how it is.
Sonny still got a reasonable amount of offense in that match, so not as much as any of the other matches, and it was quicker than, like it was still more of a squash match, but still got some offense in from what I remember. But the one with Cody not too long ago, that was a proper squash match.
And that's what they need to get a fucking grip on, because there is talent there who shouldn't be doing that, because then it lessens something like when Darby Allin took Cody to the limit. It lessens something like that, because that obviously embedding the idea that Darby now, this is the closest he's gotten. He's just been that far away from beating Cody. When Joe Janela could say, well, if I'd just lasted 5 more minutes, I could have done that as well. I'd been in the same position. I lasted 20 minutes for Cody, so what? And it lessens something like that. But yeah, Omega has flattered to deceive, I think, very much so. I've been disappointed by all the big men that they brought in. I think they've all been wasted.
Well, like all the top kind of names that you expected more from.
Other than Brody Lee, unfortunately.
Brody Lee, yeah, he was really good when he came in. I loved, like you mentioned about the little jabs they were doing in WWE. I didn't always mind the little jabs. Sometimes I was like, okay, it's a bit much. Calm it down now. But depending on who it was, how it was done, I never understood the Young Bucks doing it. Like they pretended like they'd ever really been there or they had anything to do with WWE. It's like nothing to do. I hate the Young Bucks. I don't get them. I see that they seem to think they're good guys. They're not good guys. I look at them and they are the most natural dick-headed heels there are, but they really think they're the good guys.
Yeah, they are. They're the annoying kids in school.
Yeah,
who think that they're like they think everybody likes them when really everybody resents them because they're so up themselves.
But they're also rich, and their dad happens to be the headmaster.
Yeah, who looks like Steven Seagal.
Oh God, yeah, the dad, Papa Buck.
Yeah,
and the mom's invisible. She's invisible, Invisigirl.
Good. I wish the fucking dad was invisible. I didn't need to see him on my fucking TV screen. Get off.
Ridiculous. And all the fake blood in his hand as well. Blatantly, when he went up to the thing, his head didn't touch the top, but his hand touched it and the blood came from there. You're giving him too much credit there. His hand wasn't even near his head. It was like up here.
The Revival as well, or FTR or whatever we're going by, that has been... I've been really disappointed how they use them. I was especially disappointed with how they lost the belts. Because that should have, when you built up for 4 years for a match, and then you put the stupid fucking stipulation on from the books saying, "Oh, if we don't win, we'll never challenge for the tag titles again." Or I mean, literally, like Cody said about the fucking world title a year ago. Well done, you've just given away this fucking ending. You're obviously winning. And
well, I don't think that. I mean, I felt like with Cody, they already showed no, they can lose and they can then have that put in place. Because I was hoping that Young Bucks would lose, say that they never got to challenge them again, and then went dickhead heels and were like, "Fucking using my power, go for another shot," you know. Or I still think Cody would do that eventually as well.
I think the same. Because that's how I would do it. Is have him flip, have him be a bad guy, and like, I seem to remember this thing, but I don't feel like sticking to it anymore. So, Paige, guess who your next opponent is? It's me, baby.
It would work really well.
Yeah, but I knew as soon as they said like, "Oh, we'll never challenge for the tag titles again if we can't beat you," I just knew that's it. They're winning then. If it had been like a series of 3 matches or something, you know, they'd lost the first 2, and like, right, this is it, last roll of the dice.
Yep.
It's a ladder match, and if we can't beat you in this, we'll quit. And I'd still know what the outcome was going to be, but at least it'd make more sense. And like, oh, this is our first match. Oh, if we can't beat you though, we'll never. Oh well, okay,
we'll go singles.
Yeah, and then having. Cash do the fucking 450 off the ropes.
Yeah, I get confused which one's which again now.
Yeah,
I like the one with the hair a lot better though. I think he's much better, but he was the one you want about though.
Yeah, the one who knows how to fucking sucker punch somebody who tries to tackle Bret Hart.
Yeah, that was great. Much respect for that man. I think a lot of people have
fuck with that guy. He will knock you the fuck out.
From what I remember as well, like they were like basically transitional champions, weren't they? When they got the titles, they held it for very short amount of time. It was almost as if the Young Bucks brought them in just to bury them.
I mean, it definitely felt that way because what have they done since?
Fuck all up until like they have been burying them, but now finally, as of like not last week, the week before, the Pinnacle. I'm here for that.
The faction.
Factions aren't bad. Factions are good if they're used right.
Yeah, if they're used right. But I'm really struggling to see. This is one because we're involved in it. I think this has the potential to have legs, but it is quite clearly a Four Horsemen ripoff. And if you listen to their music, it is a absolutely blatant rip-off of the WCW Four Horsemen music.
I mean, you've got one of the Four Horsemen right there in it, though, so that's not too bad. They did a little tease with just Spears and FTR. Was it Revolution or was that on Dynamite?
Also, Sean Spears shouldn't be in that. Sorry, but like he's not.
Nah, it makes sense though. I get it.
I mean, yeah, I get it, but like, I think if you're going to say like, "Oh, he's going to be the first person to be kicked out," Sean, I think you need to go.
To be honest, I was about to say he's a Sammy Guevara, but Sammy Guevara became one of my favourites in the Inner Circle in the end.
Yeah, I think Sammy's got a big future ahead of him.
And Proud and Powerful. Proud and Powerful?
Yeah.
Proud and Powerful, something else.
LAX.
Yeah.
That's LAX. Santana and Ortiz.
I really like them as well.
They're somebody. The tag team division as a whole really has been a little bit of a botch for me.
It hasn't. Yeah, it's been weird. Like I found it strange straight away. I swear they made out at one point that they weren't going to be just throwing teams together, and then you had Hangman and Omega.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you have a roster of factions who have tag teams in them, and the fact that Santana and Ortiz haven't held the belts.
Yeah, at all.
When they came in as genuinely one of the best tag teams on the planet.
Lucha Bros as well. They should have held the tag team titles.
Yeah.
And that's another Death Triangle. That's a faction where I'm like, yeah, that one shouldn't be. That makes no sense, that one. It just makes no sense at all. And I don't understand this Pac and Phoenix going for the tag titles next, isn't it?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Well, Pentagon's done a sudden switch heel. And again, this is another negative. I feel like we're mentioning a lot of negatives, but the random fucking. Well, I'm good. I'm bad.
The random flipping.
The big show booking that is happening, ironically. Just
no more BS.
With the Bucks, like when they were against FTR, they were faces. And then they had a mini feud with somebody else. I can't remember. And they were heels.
So kicking everyone randomly.
Yeah. And
there was that one week when Nick blatantly wasn't there, or the other one, because they was exposed to COVID and that. And they kicked someone, but it was blatantly someone's actual leg and a fake leg being held up at the same time, kicking someone.
Yeah. It was when he kicked Marvez.
Yeah.
And
Barbary.
Yeah. And yeah, they're just, and Scorpio Sky seemingly just flipping out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't like it. He's boring. I don't understand the hype on it. Yeah, he's boring. But I love Phoenix. I love Ray Phoenix. He's great. I just worry he's going to kill himself every time. Lance Archer, I don't think gets enough love.
No, again, talking about the wasted big men, Lance Archer, Miro, and Brian Cage.
Miro wastes himself, though.
Well, yeah. This is where someone just needs to step in and be like, no. Here's what we're going to do.
Really badly, yeah.
He has now. I really wish he would have done what I wanted him to do. The other, I think it was on Dynamite when Kip was like, sort of like, "Oh, I'm not ready for you to go." It's like, "I don't care about you. I don't care about your wife." I'm like, good.
Yeah.
Batter him, beat him to a pulp, and it's like, "Oh, well, no, but I care about you, Miro." Oh, okay then.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, I know. I was thinking the exact same thing at that time. I like,
and Brian Cage suddenly being like to Sting, "I don't care what Rick says. You are an icon." Okay, so now you're going to be a good guy.
It's funny as well because during that match, he hardly fought Sting. He was fighting Darby most of the time.
Yeah, which, I mean, that was probably wise because I don't know if Sting's back and have taken another powerbomb.
Yeah.
They're just like, no, you stay with Ricky. You stay with the light guy. You kick some punches. No droppy drop. Droppy drop. No.
I know we spoke about this before. Like you weren't a big fan of that cinematic match, were you? The street fight with Sting and Darby.
It had its moments. It wasn't my favorite match. my favorite cinematic match. I had issues with it. It was okay overall.
It's all right. What would you reckon? It doesn't have to necessarily be AEW because we're getting nearer to the end bit anyway now. What do you reckon would be the best cinematic match that you can remember?
I would probably say the was it the Last Ride match? What was it? The Boneyard match. Sorry,
Boneyard match. Yeah,
yeah, just because of it was very campy, but it didn't. I just liked what they did with it, and like I think if you, I quite liked. I liked the original. The oh bloody hell, what was it called? The very first sort of cinematic match that was Matt versus Jeff. The Ultimate Deletion.
Yeah.
And
I don't
some
know,
of them.
I think I did watch that one. I must have. I watched a few of the original ones when they first started it up. So,
but I mean, Sting is going to probably have at least 2 more of that style of match. I would have figured, based on his contract. I think.
Yeah. Do you reckon he'll ever have an actual match, just a normal match?
No, I think there's too much risk involved. I think there's way too much risk involved.
I was thinking that, but at the same time, if that was the case, if there was too much risk involved, like medical wise, would they have let him take a powerbomb from Cage? Because it was a safe powerbomb, but it was hard still.
It was, and that's what I wondered at the time. Is like, oh, he must have gotten cleared by somebody to do that, but obviously taking one bump, especially if you're a baby face.
Yeah,
you're meant to be the one who's doing the majority of the bumping. It is meant to be, yeah, exactly. It's meant to be brief babyface fire at the beginning, then a long period where the heel takes control, maybe a babyface comeback, heel takes control, babyface comeback, somebody wins is the general sort of script.
Heel slowing down the pace, unless you're in AEW and then the heels are the fastest ones sometimes.
Yeah, it's all 300 miles an hour, and that is it. And story can go hang.
Like when you see Phoenix as a bad guy, like he's just flying all over the place.
Yeah, again, somebody who doesn't make sense as a bad guy.
Part of what we were talking about a second ago, Miro, what I meant to mention, I like aspects of Miro's character. Like there's some bits that if he kept and got rid of everything else would be cool. Like I like how he dresses like sometimes he dresses like in those kind of tracksuits and make him look like an Eastern European kind of gangster.
Yeah.
Like the Russian kind of gangster, and then that's cool. That I appreciate that style. Go with that, but then take everything else. Like you need to stop with the damn games. We get it. You like games. You don't have to bring them in. You don't have to make that a thing. We're still waiting for the fucking bachelor party.
That was like another jab at WBE and not being able to have your Twitch channel. Basically, is where it all seems to have stemmed from. But like, yeah, it's not a character basis of like, I like video games. Okay. So do a lot of people.
Most of the people there are really into video games.
Yeah.
I like the best man, but he doesn't need to literally be a best man. He could have just come in calling himself, I am the best man.
Yeah.
That would be fine.
Fair enough. It tied in with the wedding angle. But then you just capitalize it and say, no, you don't understand. I am the best man. And he just goes and wrecks people.
Yeah.
He doesn't let someone like fucking Marco Stunt get any offense in. He goes and he crushes the little pricks.
Is it this week again he's facing Chuck Taylor and Cassidy with Kit? I think it is. And having fucking games surrounding the ring.
Yeah, I think so. Just let it be the end. Just let it be the end. Good God.
You know what, as well? I mean, this completely goes against what was like we were saying earlier about how they called it. It's ridiculous how they called it a sports-based alternative, sports-based version of wrestling, and then you bring someone like Orange Cassidy in.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
I love Orange Cassidy though. I've never got bored of that gimmick yet. I'm sure I will one day. And you haven't seen him as much lately. He hasn't been as oversaturated.
I definitely think that helps because I'm not
Yeah.
when he first came on, I was like, oh, this is novel. I've heard about this guy. This is amusing. And then when he was fighting Chris Jericho every week, I was really like, I'm over this now.
Yeah.
This is getting silly. But then when you take it away and you only have him every so often, it keeps that novelty factor. Because he's a one note wrestler for me. Like he's a hard wrestler. He's Santino. Like you're not gonna strap a rocket on him. And literally, I think if you put the world title on him, that would be Jim Cornette dead. That would be it, and he would just explode.
I would never want a single title on Orange Cassidy though. The only title I would ever want Orange Cassidy to wear is if he accidentally turned up in WWE and won a 24/7 title. Then I'd be alright with that. That'd be really cool.
I think he could maybe get away with like being a very brief TNT champion, like in like say there's a 4-way match, and he sort of accidentally wins it, and then he's just like, but then the next week, I don't know, Lance Archer comes in and destroys him, and that's it. Like that would work. That almost kind of or some kind of like Mikey Whipwreck back in ECW where he'd basically just get obliterated for most of the match and then somehow like get a schoolboy or whatever or a cradle and win. Like that would be okay. But he's not someone that you're going to keep strapping things on. He's not
anyway.
Yeah, but he makes a lot of money in terms of t-shirt sales and stuff. So
if it's getting over. Yeah, man, that's the thing. Like people always insulting that, like a few things, but if it's working, it's working. Like Jim Cornette will always say about the audience, and yes, the audience isn't building, of course, but at the same time, there's still a reasonably sized audience there compared to other places. And one thing I have an issue with though, when I talk about the Wednesday Night Wars, about who's winning between WWE and Dynamite, there's never really a discussion about who's winning between WWE and Dynamite. It's Dynamite and NXT because Dynamite, best case scenario, are competing, possibly competing and regularly beating WWE's developmental program.
The development program, which has taken a severe downturn in quality.
Yeah, I don't
since it went to 2 hours. When it was an hour show, it was the best wrestling product that was there. It was brilliant. And then turning it into a 2-hour show just seems to have destroyed it somehow. And it's just been severely disappointing. Yeah. But
that makes a lot of sense. So I don't think I ever watched it when it was an hour, but I can imagine that completely because they suddenly got to do twice the amount of TV each week.
Yeah. It's just like when WCW got Thunder. Eric Bischoff didn't want it. He's like, I have to fill 2 more hours of television time with people who have got to these fixed contracts who aren't going to want to do it. Brilliant. I'm just going to have to fill it with all the secondary guys. And that's what WWE have had to do. They've had to bring in more bodies to fill a second hour. And some of them are just very bland and boring.
That's how I feel about like Dark and Elevation. There's just too many shows. It's like they say they have got too many people to fill up. They've got too many people now just for Dark. Hence why they've got Elevation coming. So maybe don't employ so many people.
Yeah, it's fair enough trying to give everybody a place, but be reasonable about it because I've never watched an episode of Dark. But I was listening to a podcast that I think they said like it's a 2-hour show, and they had
sometimes it's way longer.
Oh, Jesus, but I
think they had originally.
They had something between like 10 and 15 matches on the show, and like that.
I've seen it like 3 hours sometimes because they all do what they want to do, and there's just no sense of because it's on YouTube. There's no sense of like timing or hitting a freaking mark or anything, not going over.
And that's sort of the opposite of what it should be. That should effectively be like a developmental program. We're just saying like, right, here's our camera. We work to that. if you can do that, this is where you do it. This is where you're going to learn what it's going to be like on Dynamite.
Yeah.
This is going to be a grounding for what we expect of you. Not just like, yeah, I do the flippies. I don't care.
And it's even worse as well, because I was just thinking, especially when you look at it, and most of the matches are an established person or semi-established, or you know who they are, they're actual talent, versus like a randomer, local talent or whatever. And it's like, storyline wise, that's saying that then, like they're going 50-50, whatever you want to call it, with like a randomer. So it's like, how can they then step up? But it's like what you said about Cody before, like had like a match with Janela, and like actually there was a lot of offense on him, and it's like, well, how can you then take that and then believe him beating up whoever?
Yeah, it should. There are apparently some squash matches on it. Like I said, I've never seen it, but again, that shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like those old WWE Saturday night shows where it's just 7 squash matches and Hulk Hogan might pop up the end and be like, well, let me tell you something, brother. When I fight Sergeant Slaughter at WrestleMania, ooh, it should be there to help build the product.
I don't mind it as much, at least, as long as there's like, if they started having like a lot of storyline stuff going down on it, where you felt like you were missing out on stuff, or you did miss out on stuff if you didn't watch it, then I would have a problem with it.
Yeah.
But I can happily ignore it exists right now, and I don't have to watch it, and doesn't make a difference to me.
I can happily ignore the existence of this. Yes.
I do with most people.
Yeah. Yeah. Hooray for lockdown.
Oh no, I've always done that. So go to a gig, it's like about 80% of people, I like you. Oh god, I really don't like you. You're not here. You don't exist. You're not here.
And that's just the audience. Oh god, I hate you all. Oh no.
I don't regularly tell the audience I dislike them when I'm on stage.
You're all bricks.
I don't regularly tell them I feel more comfortable on a stage because I just naturally feel like everyone else is beneath me.
Oof. Cut that promo, motherfucker.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask you about this as well, though. How do you feel about the trio titles that are coming in? Because I've heard it seems as though they might be called the trio titles because they actually announced, 6-man tag the other day as a trios match. So I assume that will be what they'll call them.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna absolutely cram the shows full of factions, it makes sense as something that more than just 2 people can have.
Yeah,
because otherwise every faction has the same goal of like, well, we want to get the tag titles and the TNT title and the world title. We want everything. Whereas this now, it gives like a 3-man group the ability to say, we want the trios titles.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. Then there's a reason that 3 people are together to go for those titles.
I think it's some groupings of 3 people together that could go for it. I mean, straight away, you mentioned the factions, the Death Triangle. They could go for it. I don't imagine they would, though, for some reason.
No, probably not.
The Lucha Express.
Which one's the Lucha Express?
Right, is that the right name? Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and
Jurassic Express.
Jurassic Express, that's it, yeah. Lucha Bros.
Oh, God, no, do not put a fucking title on Marcos. No, don't want. Do not want. No.
Them 3, I could imagine it as well being them 3 versus, like from the Pinnacle, FTR and Sean Spears. That would make sense to me. Which I would. With.
I think if FTR was smart, they would be like, no, we're not going for the trios belts. We want the tag team belts, and that is all. If they were smart.
It was probably already in their contract, said they had to, like, that was probably part of their agreement that they had to win the tag team titles. And they let them. Yeah. They let them. They took them straight off them again.
Yeah.
I definitely reckon that there was a lot of, like, purposely burying them in that. Without a doubt.
I can see when their contract comes due, as things are, I think they'd leave again. It wouldn't even.
At the moment.
I think they'd hop around. I think no, didn't enjoy it. I'm going to go to Japan.
You know what though? I say that though, but they are still very hot on AEW when they talk about it in interviews. And yes, they're not going to be really running it down, but at the same time, they wouldn't need to be really bigging it up and saying, "No, I really want these people to come to AEW, and we can do a lot here." I think they still believe in it quite a lot. And in all fairness, everything could completely change in another year or so.
Yeah.
They could bring someone in that really knows how to run a wrestling show, for example.
Maybe you would hope. Maybe Jim Cornette will come along, huh?
Oh no, that would never happen. Jim Cornette would have an aneurysm anyway. He'd fire like fucking 80% of the roster.
Yeah,
literally.
It was. I can understand why Tony Khan talked to him at the very beginnings and asked him if he was interested, but that would not be.
Yeah, you can understand at the same time why Jim Cornette said no.
Yeah. Oh, who are you doing it with? The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega? No.
No, thank you. And you can understand why Hangman as well rejected the offer to go in and be a what was it, EVP. He was given that as well. And he was like, no, I just want to be a wrestler.
Yeah, like what would he offer? And it would also be very much a feeling like, well, you're an EVP, of course, you're going to be the one who's getting the title shots and stuff.
Yeah. And like Omega now, though.
Yeah, exactly. But
they should use that more. Yeah. Actually, yeah, good point. They should use that more in general, really. They're the boss people. No one can, like, even Tony Khan, they're on like par with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, they should bring that into the storyline a bit more. I can understand why they maybe don't want to make the point of it because okay, if they had a big audience that maybe didn't know that they were EVPs, then yeah, don't make a point of it. But like we were saying before, they're not really bringing in any new audience. The audience that are there already know what's going on.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Play on this.
Everybody knows what they are, so it's pointless saying like, I've got all this power and I've got all this gold. It would just be too kind of pseudo Vince McMahon, like Vince McMahon if he was able to wrestle.
Yeah.
Which would have been a goddamn dangerous thing. Jesus.
Do you see now though, like Tony Khan popping up more because he has done a few tiny little things and he popped up on AEW Dark or the Elevation, one of them. He did cut some promo, and I saw someone AEW tweeted something about him and actually referred to him as the general manager of AEW, Tony Khan. I can see the seeds coming.
I really hope not, because anytime you see him, he doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't look comfortable holding a microphone and stuff.
I think he looks too comfortable, to be honest with you. You need to calm me down a little bit. Yeah,
I'm living my childhood dream.
He's great when he does the two Tonys paid advertisements on Impact. He's such a dick.
I mean, if they stuck to doing stuff like that, like putting that on through AEW, fair enough. Like maybe you can make Tony part of like the Omega conspiracy or something.
Yeah.
That would be fair enough. Or like an anti-Omega thing. But I hope he stays as far away from the live product as possible because he said that's what he was going to do. He said he wasn't going to be an on-screen character. And I want them to stick to that. Stick to one of the promises, please.
How many other promises did they say? And then kind of didn't go that way.
I do like the sort of not the score tally, the win-loss records.
Yeah, I do like
having that. But I wonder how long they carry on for. Like, they start doing it like for their entire AEW career, because that could get really messy.
Well, no, they've already done it. Like they've already explained away that they redo it every year. Yeah, because I thought that at first. I was like, well, surely after a bit it's just going to get too much, and then anyone that's new is going to have no chance. So how would that make sense? But then redoing it every year, I was like, okay, it makes sense then.
And I think it would be good to do like a lifetime one, which is maybe kept on the site, and then you don't get that Goldberg scenario where it's like he's 179-0. He's been here 6 weeks. What's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently there was like 12 freaking live events every week or something.
Yeah, the numbers went up very quickly, but for something like that to at least kind of stick to the sort of the sporting model that you set up, if you at least do that right, you still have some grounding in saying this is a sports-based presentation at least. So like, look, everything, we chalk it all up properly. We're not making up any results. There's been no house shows. The scores haven't changed. And include the house shows in that. Cool. And as long as it's all kind of verifiable, then I think that's a good idea. And like I say, that is something I like, is that they've still got that going to show who's dominant and doing what.
And it does work better when they do try it. So not always. Sometimes it's just like, you look at the records and that, and it's like, well, why are they going for that title then? Okay. Like they shouldn't do it all. And sometimes the people that are doing best are overlooked. But all in all, I like it.
Yeah, and that is something that's weird when you say, oh, they're the number 4 in the rankings and they're getting a title shot. Oh, why? When the number 2, when the number 2 is quite obviously doing better than them. I don't understand. It just that bit doesn't, make sense. But
so I mean, we'll just wrap up like a little conclusion about it all now. Then just AEW in general, how we felt about it over the last year and a half. Like we said, a few things in there from me. The production side of it is really starting to get to me now. If it could sort out and it'll be fine. If it keeps doing it, like the basketball noises over, I could deal with the barbed wire thing. It was ridiculous, but I could deal with that. At least I could watch it. But like the basketball match thing when the noise is going over the top the other week, man, I couldn't watch that. Like they were talking about it on this thing I watched, and they were like, all this stuff was going on, but it was a really good match. And I was like, how the fuck could you watch that match? There's stuff going on everywhere. You had the noise from the wrestling going on too. It was too much, man. I can't deal with all that noise around me.
Yeah,
but I like it. I have a lot of patience for it. But the matches are too long sometimes. The matches are just too. I like it, but I don't like it. Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably give it a B-. I guess if I was going to get a grade, or like a sort of 7.5 out of 10 kind of score. They've avoided being what TNA was, which was just like an island of WWE misfits.
Yeah, they have done that.
They have colossally mishandled a lot of talent there. They haven't used talent right, but they've had like match quality. I think is very hard to debate. That they've had some amazing matches within all of their products.
Yeah, it just gets oversaturated though because all of them are so long and edited.
Exactly, like having a 20-minute match where it doesn't need to be a 20-minute match, just so you can make everybody look like a star. That's not the way it works. Not everybody's a star. That's not what they're there for, unfortunately.
It's just not how it goes. And they need to stop doing like, you've said it before, like Jim Cornette always says the exact words, like putting a hat on a hat, like, having a finish and then another finish and then something else happens then after that finish. It happens way too much. It takes the shine off whatever the match was. It happens way too much.
Shitty booking.
Lazy booking.
But yeah, overall, it's been needed, and it's good that it is succeeding. There is still a lot of work to do, and I wonder if maybe some of the more experienced heads need to assert a little bit more authority to bring people into line to make more stuff make sense.
Yeah, I would agree with that. In general, to be fair, more needs to be done. I'm still going to be watching it. Still going to be there for it.
Still going to hate every fucking minute of it.
There is some really good stuff, but there is some really terrible stuff. It kills that suspension of disbelief. You're just taken out of it completely. It's like, oh god, okay.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun. It'll be fun to carry on with. But yeah, I think that's everything. Then I think we've wrapped up that one quite nicely.
Neat
Nice little bow
package.
But of course, that is not all from us, though. This will hopefully be out probably tomorrow, to be fair, because I'll edit this while watching Fastlane later. But on Wednesday coming, it looks like a vagina now.
Vagina.
On Wednesday coming, I'm about to cover up the vagina. You can catch both me and Callum Jarvis-Jones, formerly known as the Bell Collector, on KD's comedian quiz off the birthday bash. It is going to be the day after my birthday. We're going to have a smorgasbord of comedic talent on offer for you. We'll have post-apocalyptic male treehouses Nathan Parrish, Lambrini with Leanne Easthope, the self-proclaimed Chuck Ice Griff, the aforementioned Bell Collector, and Neanderthal podcast man Callum Jarvis-Jones, Total Obvious Comedies Tarancelli, and the Don himself, the head of the middle class mafia, Mr. Alex Plant. It's gonna be a fun night.
It is bound to be a night of mirth and merriment.
I have got a nice little treat of a round for you, where you're all included in it. So that'll be fun.
Shit.
You are out of this world in it.
Oh shit. I don't like the ideas. I don't like new things. I don't like change unless they involve poop bananas. Anything involving a poop banana is now my favorite thing.
That phrase has to be included every time we do the karaoke, and that karaoke will be back. Do you not worry. Along with
I want you to, if you go into like setting up a production company, please call it the Poop Banana Production Company.
PB Productions.
Yeah. KDPB.
Right, that is it then. So until next time, we'll figure out what we want to do next. Maybe we'll put a poll up or something, or I don't know if we know enough wrestling people, though. Yes, I'll find a load of groups on Facebook and that to add all these into. We'll figure it out. Go from there.
Yeah.
But cool. Goodbye from KD then. You can say goodbye to the people. Say bye to the people.
Bye, people. I've won 3 titles. Will I make it 4 so I can rip off the 4 Horsemen? Who knows?
I've won none.
Read between the lines.
Between the lines. KD's community quiz off this Wednesday, but from both of us and everyone here at KD Comedy Inc. and Joke for Connecting Comedy. Much love, and we'll see you later. Peace out, babies.